If you are a fan of thrilling and super hit movies, then you must like this video. And if you're visiting our channel Facts and Review for the first time, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. In today's video, we are going to talk about a highly awaited and terrifying installment in the Final Destination series, Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025. We will cover everything you need to know about this horror thriller, what this movie is about, where you can watch it, and all the exciting and hidden facts related to it. I'll tell you exactly on which OTT platform or satellite channel this movie is available. We'll also dive deep into its technical department, music department, pre-production, filming, post-production, budget, and box office performance. Not only that, we'll break down the storyline, give a brief review, and discuss the acting performances, who played which role, and how well each actor performed. Plus, we'll talk about the unique elements that make this part of the Final Destination franchise different and special. So friends, I request you to please watch this video till the end, because it's going to be full of suspense, thrill, and shocking facts. Let's begin the video. If you'd like this in Urdu or want a translated word-by-word version, I can provide that too. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, revitalizes the franchise by intertwining past and present through a multi-generational narrative. Departing from the series' typical linear structure, the film employs a non-linear approach that deepens its mythos and emotional resonance. Non-linear narrative structure. The film opens in 1968 with Iris Campbell experiencing a premonition of a catastrophic collapse at the Skyview, a high-rise restaurant tower. Her intervention prevents the disaster, inadvertently disrupting Death's design. Decades later, her granddaughter, Stephanie Reyes, is plagued by recurring nightmares of the event. These visions compel her to uncover the truth about her family's past and the consequences of Iris's actions. Hollywood Trace. +14. Wikipedia. +14. Wikipedia. +14. Hollywood Trace. +5. Wikipedia. +5. We have issues. +5. Time. This dual timeline structure allows the narrative to explore the ripple effects of altering fate, connecting characters across generations and emphasizing the enduring impact of past decisions. Key turning points and conflicts. Iris's premonition and intervention. Iris's foresight and subsequent actions in 1968 set the foundation for the film's central conflict, Death's relentless pursuit to correct its disrupted design by targeting the survivors and their descendants. It's a stampede. +8. Wikipedia. +8. Vulture. +8. Stephanie's discovery. Stephanie's investigation leads her to Iris, who reveals the family's cursed legacy. Iris's self-sacrifice serves as a pivotal moment, confirming the reality of Death's design and passing the responsibility to Stephanie. Moldaville.net. +8. Wikipedia. +8. Wikipedia. +8. Family tragedies. As Death begins claiming members of the Campbell family in their original order of demise, Stephanie and her relatives grapple with disbelief, fear, and the urgency to find a solution. Consultation with William Bloodworth. The family seeks guidance from Bloodworth, who elucidates the rules of Death's design and potential methods to cheat it. His insights provide a glimmer of hope but also underscore the perilous nature of interfering with fate. Hollywood Trace. +4. Wikipedia. +4. Time. +4. Failed attempts to cheat Death. Efforts to circumvent Death's plan, including inducing temporary death and revival, result in further tragedy, highlighting the futility of resisting predetermined fate. Wikipedia. Inevitable demise. Despite their endeavors, Stephanie and her brother Charlie ultimately succumb to Death's design, reinforcing the franchise's theme of inescapable destiny. Wikipedia. +1. Vulture. +1. Performing arts emotional and thematic impact. Final Destination. Bloodlines delves into themes of generational trauma, the consequences of disrupting natural order, and the illusion of control over fate. By focusing on familial bonds and inherited curses, the film adds emotional depth to its horror elements. The characters' struggles evoke empathy, as they confront the harrowing realization that their existence is a byproduct of a defied death, and thus, subject to correction. The narrative challenges the notion of free will, suggesting that attempts to alter destiny may lead to unintended and often tragic outcomes. This philosophical underpinning elevates the film beyond its genre conventions, offering a contemplative perspective on mortality and the human desire to outmaneuver the inevitable. Clapperboard conclusion. By weaving a complex, time-spanning tale, Final Destination, Bloodlines reinvigorates the series with a fresh narrative approach and profound thematic exploration. Its nonlinear storytelling, coupled with emotionally charged character arcs and thought-provoking motifs, positions the film as a standout entry that both honors and expands upon the franchise's legacy. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, introduces a fresh ensemble of characters, weaving a multi-generational narrative that delves into themes of fate, familial legacy, and the inescapable nature of death. While the film maintains the franchise's hallmark of inventive death sequences, it also endeavors to provide deeper character development, particularly through its central figures. The Daily Beast. +1. Vulture. +1. Stephanie Reyes, the reluctant protagonist. Stephanie Reyes, portrayed by Caitlin Santawana, serves as the film's central character. A college student plagued by recurring nightmares of a 1968 tower collapse, Stephanie's journey begins with skepticism and a desire to understand her visions. As she uncovers her family's entanglement with death's design, Stephanie evolves from a passive observer to an active participant, striving to protect her relatives from their fated demise. Her transformation is marked by resilience and a deepening understanding of the consequences of her grandmother's actions decades prior. Wikipedia. +3. dvdfever.co.uk. +3. Wikipedia. +3. Wikipedia. Older woman Iris Campbell, the catalyst. Iris Campbell, Stephanie's reclusive grandmother, is the linchpin connecting past and present. In 1968, Iris's premonition prevented a catastrophic tower collapse, inadvertently disrupting Death's plan and setting off a chain of events affecting subsequent generations. Her life of isolation and meticulous documentation of Death's patterns underscore her burden of guilt and responsibility. Iris's ultimate sacrifice serves as both a warning and a guide for Stephanie, emphasizing the weight of altering fate. Wikipedia. Family Man Woman Girl Boy The Campbell Family, a spectrum of reactions. The extended Campbell family exhibits a range of responses to the unfolding crisis. Charlie Reyes, Stephanie's younger brother, Charlie, transitions from disbelief to active involvement, highlighting the film's exploration of familial bonds and shared destiny. Howard Campbell, Stephanie's uncle, Howard, embodies denial and skepticism, resisting the notion of a predetermined fate until confronted with undeniable evidence. Eric and Bobby Campbell, cousins who attempt to outmaneuver death through risky strategies, their arcs underscore the desperation and futility in challenging an immutable force. These varied reactions provide a microcosm of human responses to mortality and predestination. Wikipedia. William Bloodworth, the Harbinger. Tony Todd reprises his role as William Bloodworth, offering a poignant and introspective performance. Bloodworth's expanded backstory reveals his own connection to the 1968 incident, adding depth to his enigmatic character. His guidance to Stephanie and her family serves as both a narrative device and a thematic anchor, emphasizing the inevitability of death and the limited agency individuals possess. Todd's portrayal, especially considering his passing in 2024, adds a layer of gravitas and finality to the character's arc. Wikipedia. +3. Polygon. +3. Wikipedia. +3. Performing arts emotional and thematic resonance. While Final Destination, Bloodlines introduces more layered characters than some of its predecessors, critiques suggest that deeper emotional connections could have been further developed. Nonetheless, the film's exploration of inherited guilt, the consequences of defying natural order, and the complexities of familial relationships contribute to a richer narrative tapestry. Conclusion. Final Destination. Bloodlines endeavors to balance the franchise's signature suspense and inventive fatalities with more nuanced character development. Through its multi-generational lens, the film examines the enduring impact of past actions on present and future generations, offering a contemplative take on fate and mortality. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, revitalizes the franchise with a compelling ensemble cast that brings both fresh energy and emotional depth to the narrative. The performances range from poignant farewells to dynamic portrayals that enhance the film's exploration of fate, family, and mortality. Performing arts. Tony Todd as William Bloodworth, a poignant farewell. Tony Todd's final portrayal of William Bloodworth stands as a highlight of the film. His performance, imbued with gravitas and introspection, offers a heartfelt connection to the franchise's legacy. In a particularly moving scene, Todd delivers unscripted reflections on life and death, serving as both a narrative anchor and a tribute to his enduring impact on the series. Forbes. Glowing star Caitlin Santawana as Stephanie Reyes, the reluctant heroine. Caitlin Santawana leads as Stephanie Reyes, a college student haunted by visions of impending doom. Her portrayal captures the transformation from skepticism to determination, grounding the film's supernatural elements in relatable human emotion. Santawana's performance provides a strong emotional core, driving the narrative forward. Filmophilia. Smiling Face Withhorn's Richard Harmon as Eric Campbell, the cynical comic relief. Richard Harmon delivers a standout performance as Eric Campbell, Stephanie's cousin. His character's sardonic wit and self-awareness inject moments of levity into the tense storyline. Harmon's portrayal balances humor with genuine concern, adding complexity to the ensemble. Fortress of Solitude. Glowing star Breck Basinger as Val, a mesmerizing presence. Breck Basinger's role as Val brings a captivating presence to the film. Her performance is noted for its depth and emotional resonance, contributing significantly to the film's exploration of familial bonds and destiny. Wikipedia. +3. Movie Maze. +3. Filmophilia. +3. Clapping Hands Sign Supporting Cast, cohesive and engaging. The supporting cast, including Teo Briones, Anna Law, Rhea Kilstedt, and Brenna Llewellyn, delivers cohesive performances that enrich the film's narrative tapestry. Their portrayals add layers to the story, enhancing the themes of interconnectedness and the inescapable nature of fate. Wikipedia. +2. Rolling Out. +2. Reddit. +2. Clapperboard Overall Impact, a balanced ensemble. The collective performances in Final Destination, Bloodlines elevate the film beyond its horror roots. The cast's ability to convey fear, humor, and emotional depth contributes to a nuanced portrayal of characters grappling with destiny. This balance of performances ensures that the film resonates with audiences, offering both thrilling suspense and heartfelt moments. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, directed by Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein, marks a revitalizing entry in the long-standing horror franchise. The director's approach intertwines homage to the series' roots with innovative storytelling techniques, crafting a film that balances suspense, dark humor, and emotional depth. Cinema Blend. +3. Time. +3. Wikipedia. +3. Clapperboard Direction and Storytelling. Lipovsky and Stein infuse the narrative with a non-linear structure, commencing with a 1968 premonition that sets the stage for the multigenerational curse central to the plot. This temporal layering enriches the story, allowing for a deeper exploration of the character's lineage and the consequences of altering fate. Time. The director's adept balance the franchise's signature elaborate death sequences with character-driven moments, ensuring that the suspenseful set pieces are grounded in the protagonist's emotional journeys. This approach enhances the audience's investment in the character's fates, elevating the impact of the film's climactic moments. Movie camera visual style and cinematography. The film's visual composition, under the guidance of cinematographer Christian Sebault, employs dynamic camera movements and strategic framing to heighten tension. Notably, the MRI death scene utilizes close-ups and tracking shots to amplify the visceral horror, immersing viewers in the character's peril. Wikipedia. The directors also incorporate symbolic imagery and foreshadowing throughout the film, a hallmark of the franchise. These visual cues serve to build anticipation and engage the audience in deciphering potential threats, adding a layer of interactive suspense to the viewing experience. Stopwatch pacing and mood. The film's pacing is meticulously crafted, with a deliberate build-up of tension leading to the elaborate death sequences. The directors intersperse moments of levity and character development to provide respite from the mounting suspense, maintaining a rhythm that keeps viewers engaged without overwhelming them. The mood oscillates between ominous foreboding and darkly comedic relief, a tonal balance that pays homage to the franchise's legacy while introducing a fresh perspective. This nuanced approach allows the film to explore themes of destiny and mortality without succumbing to melodrama. Performing arts performances and character arcs. The directors elicit compelling performances from the cast, particularly Caitlin Santawana as Stephanie Reyes. Her portrayal of a young woman grappling with her family's cursed legacy adds emotional weight to the narrative. Tony Todd's final performance as William Bloodworth provides a poignant anchor, his improvised farewell scene serving as a tribute to both the character and the actor's enduring impact on the series. Innovative elements. Lipovsky and Stein introduce inventive death sequences that transform mundane scenarios into lethal encounters, a signature of the franchise. The director's willingness to push boundaries is exemplified in the MI scene, conceived with actor Richard Harmon's input, which delivers a shocking and memorable moment. Polygon. +3. Time. +3. Cinema Blend. +3. Business Insider. Additionally, the film's use of 4DX technology enhances the immersive experience, with synchronized environmental effects intensifying the impact of the death scenes. Cinema Blend. Clapperboard conclusion. Through their direction, Lipovsky and Stein successfully rejuvenate the Final Destination franchise, blending traditional elements with innovative storytelling and visual techniques. Their film stands as a testament to the enduring appeal of the series, offering both longtime fans and new audiences a thrilling cinematic experience. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, the sixth installment in the franchise, showcases a distinctive visual style that enhances its suspenseful narrative. Cinematographer Christian Sebault, known for his work on CSI, crime scene investigation, employs a blend of camera techniques, lighting, and framing to create a visually engaging experience. Wikipedia. Movie camera techniques and framing. Sebault utilizes dynamic camera movements and strategic framing to build tension throughout the film. In the opening sequence set in the 1960s Skyview restaurant, the camera captures the opulent setting with wide shots, establishing a sense of grandeur before impending doom. As the narrative progresses, the use of tight close-ups and tracking shots immerses the audience in the characters' experiences, particularly during the elaborate death sequences. These techniques heighten the suspense and draw viewers into the unfolding chaos. Electric light bulb lighting and atmosphere. The film's lighting design plays a crucial role in setting the mood. Sebault employs a palette that shifts between warm, nostalgic tones in flashback scenes and cooler, more ominous hues in present-day sequences. This contrast not only delineates time periods but also underscores the thematic tension between past and present. In scenes leading up to the characters' demises, lighting is manipulated to cast foreboding shadows, enhancing the sense of impending danger. Film visual highlights. Several scenes stand out for their visual impact. The MRI Tufa sequence, for instance, is noted for its inventive use of camera angles and lighting to amplify the horror of the moment. The scene's composition, combined with the film's 4DX presentation, delivers a visceral experience that resonates with audiences. Additionally, the Skyview restaurant collapse is meticulously crafted, with the camera capturing the chaos from multiple perspectives, immersing viewers in the catastrophe. Cinemablend.com. Wikipedia. Clapperboard overall impact. Through deliberate camera work, lighting choices, and framing, Final Destination, Bloodlines achieves a visual style that complements its narrative. Sebault's cinematography not only pays homage to the franchise's roots but also introduces fresh visual elements that enhance the storytelling. The result is a film that engages viewers both emotionally and visually, reaffirming the series' place in the horror genre. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, employs a distinctive editing style that both honors the franchise's legacy and introduces fresh pacing dynamics. The film's rhythm oscillates between deliberate tension-building and rapid, chaotic sequences, reflecting the unpredictable nature of its central theme, the inescapability of death. Clapperboard editing techniques and narrative flow. The film opens with a meticulously crafted sequence set in the 1960s Skyview restaurant. Here, the editing employs a series of close-ups and disorienting sound effects to foreshadow impending doom, effectively immersing the audience in the protagonist's premonition. This approach sets a precedent for the film's editing style, which frequently utilizes visual cues to build suspense. Throughout the narrative, the editing maintains a balance between exposition and action. Scenes involving character development and plot progression are interspersed with the franchise's signature elaborate death sequences. This structure ensures that the pacing remains engaging, with tension escalating as the story unfolds. Stopwatch pacing and emotional impact. The film's pacing is characterized by its deliberate build-up to climactic moments. By allowing scenes to unfold methodically, the audience is given time to connect with the characters, heightening the emotional impact of their eventual fates. This approach is particularly evident in sequences where the characters attempt to decipher and thwart death's design, adding layers of complexity to the narrative. Wikipedia. However, some critics have noted that the film's pacing occasionally falters, with certain scenes feeling overly drawn out or lacking in urgency. These moments can momentarily disrupt the film's momentum, though they are often offset by the subsequent high-intensity sequences. Film visual storytelling and atmosphere. The editing contributes significantly to the film's atmospheric tension. By employing lower camera angles and lingering shots, the film creates a sense of unease and anticipation. This technique is particularly effective in scenes leading up to the characters' demises, where the audience is acutely aware of the impending danger. Moreover, the film's use of visual storytelling enhances its thematic depth. Symbolic imagery and recurring motifs are woven throughout the narrative, reinforcing the central themes of fate and mortality. These elements, combined with the film's editing choices, create a cohesive and immersive viewing experience. Bullseye conclusion. In Final Destination, Bloodlines, the editing and pacing are integral to the film's storytelling. While there are moments where the pacing could be more consistent, the overall structure effectively balances character development with the franchise's hallmark suspense and horror. The film's editing choices not only enhance the narrative's emotional resonance but also reaffirm the series' enduring appeal. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, features a meticulously crafted soundtrack that significantly enhances its atmospheric tension and emotional depth. Composed by Tim Wynn, known for his work on video games like XCOM 2 and Marvel's Midnight Suns, the score seamlessly integrates with the film's narrative, amplifying the suspense and horror elements that define the franchise. Enemy. +2. Film Music Reporter. +2. Apple Music Web Player. +2. Musical Score Composer and Soundtrack Overview. Tim Wynn's composition for Bloodlines comprises 32 tracks, totaling over an hour of music. Released by Lakeshore Records on May 16, 2025, the soundtrack is available on major digital platforms. Wynn's approach balances the franchise's traditional motifs with innovative musical elements, creating a soundscape that is both familiar and refreshingly new. Wikipedia. Geeksteronomy.com. +4. Wikipedia. +4. Wikipedia. +4. Musical note: musical themes and motifs. Wynn employs recurring motifs to underscore the film's central themes of fate and mortality. For instance, the track Bloodworth's Goodbye utilizes a somber melody that reflects the character's enigmatic presence and the overarching inevitability of death. These motifs are woven throughout the score, providing continuity and enhancing the narrative's emotional resonance. Wikipedia. +1. Wikipedia. +1. Speaker-off use of silence and sound design. Strategic use of silence in the score heightens the film's suspense. By allowing moments of quiet to precede sudden musical crescendos, Wynn effectively amplifies the impact of the film's shocking sequences. This technique draws viewers into the tension, making the eventual release all the more impactful. YouTube. +4. Enemy. +4. Soundtrack. +4. Multiple musical notes: integration of licensed songs. In addition to the original score, Bloodlines features a selection of licensed tracks that complement the film's tone. Songs like Bad Moon Rising by Creedence Clearwater Revival and Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash are used to juxtapose the film's dark themes with moments of ironic levity. This blend of classic songs with the original score adds layers to the film's auditory experience. Wikipedia. +4. Wikipedia. +4. Wikipedia. +4. Headphone overall impact. Tim Wynn's score for Final Destination, Bloodlines stands out as a significant contribution to the franchise. His ability to blend traditional horror motifs with innovative musical techniques results in a soundtrack that not only supports but elevates the film's narrative. The music's seamless integration with the story ensures that it enhances the viewing experience without overpowering it. Film Music Reporter. +4. Enemy. +4. YouTube. +4. For those interested in exploring the soundtrack further, it is available for streaming and purchase on platforms like Apple Music. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, delves into profound themes that extend beyond its signature elaborate death sequences. This installment explores concepts such as generational trauma, the illusion of control over fate, and the enduring impact of familial bonds. Medium. +1. Medium. +1. Counterclockwise arrows: generational trauma and inherited consequences. Central to the narrative is the idea that disrupting death's design has repercussions that span generations. Iris Campbell's decision to prevent the 1968 Skyview Tower disaster inadvertently places her descendants in death's crosshairs. This plot device serves as a metaphor for how the actions and decisions of one generation can profoundly affect the next, highlighting the inescapable nature of inherited burdens. Sarah G. Vincent Views. +5. Wikipedia. +5. Wikipedia. +5. Fate, Free Will, and the Illusion of Control. The film continues the franchise's exploration of fate versus free will. Characters' attempts to cheat death, whether through creating new life or taking another's, underscore the futility of resisting predetermined outcomes. This theme is reinforced by the character of William Bloodworth, who, despite his extensive knowledge of death's design, acknowledges the inevitability of his own demise. Wikipedia. Wikipedia. Family man, woman, girl, boy, family dynamics and emotional resonance. Unlike previous entries that focused on groups of friends or strangers, Bloodlines centers on a family unit. This shift adds emotional depth, as the characters grapple with strained relationships and the weight of shared history. The film portrays the complexities of familial bonds, illustrating how love, resentment, and obligation intertwine, especially when faced with existential threats. Medium. +1. Medium. +1. Cyclone, the inevitability of death and existential reflection. At its core, the film confronts the audience with the inevitability of death. By depicting death as an unstoppable force, the narrative prompts viewers to reflect on their mortality and the unpredictability of life. This existential undertone adds a layer of philosophical inquiry to the horror elements, encouraging contemplation beyond the immediate scares. Performing arts legacy and farewell. The character of William Bloodworth, portrayed by the late Tony Todd, serves as a bridge between the franchise's past and present. His final monologue, improvised by Todd, offers a poignant reflection on life and death, serving as both a narrative closure and a heartfelt goodbye to fans. Polygon. +1. Wikipedia. +1. In summary, Final Destination. Bloodlines transcends its genre conventions by weaving in themes of generational trauma, the illusion of control over fate, and the complexities of family dynamics. These elements enrich the narrative, offering viewers a horror experience that is both thrilling and thought-provoking. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, showcases a compelling blend of practical effects and CGI, enhancing the film's immersive horror experience. The visual effects team, led by VFX supervisor Nordine Rahali and cinematographer Christian Sebault, meticulously crafted sequences that balance realism with the franchise's signature elaborate death scenes. Motion Picture Association. Wrench integration of practical effects and CGI. The film employs practical effects to ground its more visceral moments. Notably, the degloving of a hand and a lawnmower to the face scene were achieved using detailed maquettes and physical props, providing a tangible sense of horror. These practical elements were then enhanced with CGI to amplify the gore without compromising realism. Motion Picture Association. Conversely, some sequences relied more heavily on CGI, which received mixed reactions. While certain scenes, like the magnetic MRI mishap, effectively combined both techniques, others were critiqued for appearing less polished, potentially due to budget constraints. Discussing film. Clapperboard noteworthy visual sequences. Skyview Tower collapse. The opening disaster set in the 1960s utilized a combination of practical set pieces and digital effects to recreate the catastrophic event, setting a high standard for the film's visual storytelling. MRI machine incident. This sequence stands out for its inventive use of magnetic forces, blending practical effects with CGI to deliver a shocking and memorable death scene. Discussing film. Nose ring dragging scene. Actor Richard Harmon's character experiences a harrowing death involving his septum ring and a ceiling fan. Remarkably, this scene was executed entirely with practical effects over 5 days, emphasizing the film's commitment to authentic stunt work. Wikipedia. +2. Business Insider. +2. EW.com. +2. Performing arts audience and critical reception. Critics and audiences have acknowledged the film's efforts to blend practical and digital effects. While some praised the seamless integration and the return to more tactile horror elements, others felt that certain CGI-heavy scenes lacked the finesse of earlier installments. Medium. Roger Ebert. Conclusion. Final Destination. Bloodlines strives to balance practical effects with CGI to deliver its trademark elaborate death sequences. While not all visual elements achieve perfection, the film's dedication to combining traditional effects with modern technology results in a series of memorable and inventive scenes that uphold the franchise's legacy. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, stands as a testament to the franchise's commitment to delivering inventive and chilling death sequences. Under the guidance of VFX supervisor Nordine Rahali, known for his work on high-profile films like San Andreas and Transformers, the film skillfully blends practical effects with CGI to create a visceral cinematic experience. Time. IMDb. Wrench integration of practical effects and CGI. The film's opening sequence, set in the 1960s Skyview Tower, showcases the meticulous craftsmanship involved in combining practical sets with digital enhancements. A massive restaurant set was constructed and rigged to tilt up to 30 degrees, allowing for dynamic shots that were later augmented with CGI to depict the catastrophic collapse. This blend of tangible set design and digital effects immerses the audience in the harrowing event. EW.com. One of the most talked-about scenes involves a character's septum ring being caught by a ceiling fan chain, leading to a gruesome demise. Actor Richard Harmon revealed that this scene was executed entirely with practical effects over 5 days, emphasizing the film's dedication to authentic stunt work. Business Insider. Clapperboard noteworthy visual sequences. MRI machine incident. This sequence stands out for its inventive use of magnetic forces, blending practical effects with CGI to deliver a shocking and memorable death scene. Discussing film. Garbage truck mishap. A scene involving a garbage truck showcases the film's ability to transform mundane objects into instruments of terror, utilizing a combination of practical stunts and digital effects to heighten the suspense. Discussing film. Performing arts audience and critical reception. Critics and audiences have acknowledged the film's efforts to blend practical and digital effects. While some praised the seamless integration and the return to more tactile horror elements, others felt that certain CGI-heavy scenes lacked the finesse of earlier installments. Conclusion. Final Destination. Bloodlines strives to balance practical effects with CGI to deliver its trademark elaborate death sequences. While not all visual elements achieve perfection, the film's dedication to combining traditional effects with modern technology results in a series of memorable and inventive scenes that uphold the franchise's legacy. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, distinguishes itself not only through its intricate death sequences but also via its meticulously crafted set design and thoughtfully chosen filming locations. Under the direction of Zach Lipovsky and Adam B. Stein, and with production design led by Rachel O'Toole, the film delivers a visually compelling experience that enhances its horror narrative. People.com. +9. 9 meters. +9. Polygon. +9. Cityscape # filming locations. Vancouver as a cinematic canvas. The film was predominantly shot in Vancouver, British Columbia, a city renowned for its versatile architecture and natural landscapes, making it a favored location for many productions. Specific sites include: for filming, +1. For filming, +1. Set Jetta, +1. Set Jetta, +1. Museum of Vancouver, served as the base for the fictional Skyview Tower, a pivotal setting in the film. The museum's distinctive architecture provided a fitting backdrop for the tower's design. Surrey and New Westminster, various residential and community areas in these cities were utilized to depict the family home, hospital, and other locales integral to the story. Set Jetta. These locations were chosen not only for their aesthetic appeal, but also for their ability to evoke the desired atmosphere and support the narrative's themes. Building construction / set design. Crafting a tangible world. Production designer Rachel O'Toole played a crucial role in creating environments that were both believable and unsettling. The opening sequence, set in the 1960s Skyview Tower, involved constructing a massive restaurant set, some parts of which were tilted up to 30 degrees to achieve dramatic effects. This attention to detail ensured that the settings felt authentic and immersive. Reddit. EW.com. Moreover, the film's use of IMAX-specific cues, such as expanding the aspect ratio during key scenes, further enhanced the visual experience, making the settings feel expansive and engaging. Polygon. Cityscape at dusk visual atmosphere, enhancing the horror narrative. The chosen locations and set designs contributed significantly to the film's atmospheric tension. The juxtaposition of serene suburban settings with the impending doom of death's design created a dissonance that heightened the horror elements. This contrast is particularly evident in scenes where everyday environments become sites of fatal accidents, underscoring the franchise's theme of the inescapability of death. Performing arts conclusion, a visually cohesive experience. Final Destination. Bloodlines exemplifies how thoughtful set design and strategic location choices can elevate a horror film. By grounding the narrative in realistic settings and enhancing them with detailed production design, the film creates a world that feels both familiar and terrifying, drawing viewers deeper into its suspenseful tale. For a visual insight into the set design and behind-the-scenes elements, you might find this video informative. Certainly. Here's a more detailed analysis of Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, focusing on its set design and locations, explaining how they contribute to the film's atmosphere, narrative, and visual impact from a third-person perspective. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025. Set design and locations, a deep dive. Final Destination, Bloodlines masterfully employs its set design and filming locations to create a vivid, immersive world that grounds the supernatural horror in realistic and emotionally resonant environments. The settings, props, and production design not only serve the story's practical needs but also actively enhance the film's tension, mood, and thematic weight. 1. Location choices. Vancouver as a versatile backdrop. The majority of the film was shot in Vancouver, British Columbia, a location favored in the film industry for its architectural diversity and natural beauty, which allows it to double for various urban and suburban American settings. Vancouver's ability to provide both modern and retro environments was essential for the film's timeline that spans decades, from 1968 to present day. Skyview Tower and Museum of Vancouver. The filmmakers used the Museum of Vancouver as a key stand-in for the fictional Skyview Tower, the site of the catastrophic 1968 restaurant disaster that triggers the film's central plot. The museum's distinct modernist design allowed the set designers to create a believable skyscraper interior that feels authentic to the era while being visually imposing and claustrophobic during disaster scenes. Residential neighborhoods of Surrey and New Westminster. These locations were used to depict the suburban family homes and community settings crucial for the emotional and relational story arcs. The contrast between safe, everyday neighborhoods and the sudden horror they harbor contributes to the film's unsettling atmosphere. The locations were chosen not only for logistical reasons but for their atmospheric potential. Vancouver's mix of natural light, weather variability, and architectural styles adds texture and realism to the story world. 2. Set construction and practical details. Tilted Restaurant Set. A standout achievement in production design was the massive restaurant set constructed to simulate the Skyview Tower's catastrophic tilt and collapse. The set was physically rigged to tilt as much as 30 degrees, allowing actors to interact naturally with their environment during the disaster. This practical effect was enhanced with CGI but rooted in real, physical elements, lending authenticity to the chaos. Attention to era-specific details. The production design team meticulously recreated the late 1960s ambience through props, furniture, costumes, and color palettes. This careful period-accurate detailing grounds the supernatural elements in a believable past, making the consequences feel more immediate and real. Hospital and family home sets. The hospital settings feature cold, sterile aesthetics with harsh lighting and clinical props, reinforcing themes of vulnerability and mortality. In contrast, the family homes were designed with warmth and lived-in details, highlighting the personal stakes and character relationships. 3. Visual and narrative impact of locations. Contrasting safe versus dangerous spaces. The film cleverly contrasts the comfort of suburban life with the looming presence of death's inevitability. Locations that should feel secure, such as family homes, schools, or hospitals, become sites of tension and terror, reflecting the franchise's theme that death is inescapable regardless of setting. Use of lighting and color to enhance mood. Cinematographer Christian Sebault collaborated closely with the production design team to use lighting as a storytelling tool. The film often employs muted, naturalistic lighting in calmer scenes, shifting to high-contrast shadows and flickering emergency lights during moments of danger. This interplay intensifies the suspense and highlights the transition from normalcy to chaos. IMAX and aspect ratio utilization. The film makes special use of IMAX presentation formats by expanding the aspect ratio during major disaster scenes, immersing viewers visually into the scale and horror of the events. This technical choice is complemented by the expansive set design and locations, making disaster moments feel more overwhelming and immersive. 4. Production design's role in character and theme. The design of spaces is closely tied to character psychology and narrative themes. The Skyview Tower's imposing architecture visually symbolizes the overwhelming and uncontrollable force of death that looms over the characters. The family home's warmth and clutter speak to the lived experiences and emotional ties of the characters, grounding the supernatural terror in very human relationships. Spaces such as hospitals and morgues reinforce the inevitability of death, evoking clinical finality and emotional despair, which amplifies the film's existential themes. 5. Summary: cohesive world building. Ultimately, Final Destination. Bloodlines employs set design and locations not just as backdrops but as active narrative and emotional devices. The believable, carefully crafted environments support the film's complex timeline spanning decades. Enhance the emotional impact by contrasting everyday familiarity with supernatural horror. Use architectural and design elements to symbolize thematic concerns like fate, mortality, and family bonds. Help the audience suspend disbelief, deepening immersion in the story. By integrating practical effects with thoughtful location scouting and detailed set design, the film builds a rich visual world that elevates the horror experience beyond mere jump scares to an atmospheric and emotionally resonant thriller. If you want, I can also help draft a concise, engaging script for your YouTube channel or write about other technical aspects. Would you like me to? Certainly. Here's an in-depth analysis of Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, focusing on its dialogue and script from a third-person perspective. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, Dialogue and Script Analysis. Final Destination, Bloodlines delivers a screenplay that skillfully balances the franchise's signature suspense with character-driven moments, combining sharp wit, emotional depth, and impactful writing to elevate the horror narrative. 1. Engagement and naturalism in dialogue. The script's dialogue maintains a naturalistic tone, reflecting authentic speech patterns without feeling forced or expository. Characters speak in a way that aligns well with their personalities, backgrounds, and emotional states, which grounds the supernatural plot in believable human interactions. Casual banter and tension. Early scenes feature everyday conversations that reveal character dynamics and motivations. For instance, the exchanges between family members and friends convey warmth, camaraderie, and underlying anxiety, effectively building audience investment before disaster strikes. Realistic reactions to trauma. The script captures how individuals process fear and grief differently. Some characters respond with denial or sarcasm, while others express raw vulnerability. This variation adds layers to the narrative and prevents dialogue from feeling one-dimensional. 2. Moments of sharp wit. While Final Destination films are primarily known for suspense and horror, Bloodlines injects moments of sharp wit and dry humor that serve as brief reliefs amidst tension. Quips and sarcastic remarks are often delivered by secondary characters, which helps balance the tone without undermining the story's stakes. The script's humor tends to emerge organically from character traits rather than forced punchlines, making it feel earned and memorable. 3. Emotional weight and impactful writing. The screenplay thoughtfully incorporates emotional beats that deepen the stakes beyond physical survival. Family and legacy themes. The narrative's focus on multi-generational trauma and fate is reinforced through dialogue that explores regret, hope, and sacrifice. Conversations between older and younger characters often reflect these themes, adding a poignant undercurrent to the horror. Moments of introspection. Several key scenes feature characters reflecting on mortality and the fragility of life, articulated through thoughtful monologues or quiet exchanges. These moments lend the film emotional gravitas rarely seen in slasher franchises. 4. Standout lines and defining quotes. Though the film does not rely heavily on quotable one-liners, it includes several memorable lines that encapsulate its core themes and tone. "You can't cheat death forever, but you can fight every second." This line becomes a thematic anchor, spoken by the protagonist in a moment of resolve. It summarizes the film's exploration of inevitability versus agency. Death doesn't discriminate, it's the great equalizer. Delivered by a secondary character with somber clarity, this line emphasizes the universality of mortality central to the franchise. Sharp, situationally ironic lines during tense moments often stick with the audience, underlining the film's blend of horror and dark humor. 5. Script structure and pacing. The screenplay's pacing complements the dialogue, with tension building steadily through carefully crafted scenes. Dialogue-heavy moments allow for character development without slowing momentum. Action and suspense sequences are punctuated by short, impactful exchanges that heighten urgency. The script uses dialogue to foreshadow upcoming events subtly, maintaining intrigue without overt exposition. 6. Summary. In Final Destination, Bloodlines, the dialogue and script work in tandem to create an engaging, emotionally resonant, and occasionally witty narrative. The writing respects the franchise's horror roots while introducing nuanced character voices and meaningful themes. This balance of natural speech, thematic depth, and memorable lines contributes significantly to the film's overall impact and audience connection. If you want, I can help create a sample dialogue scene or summarize the script's key moments for your channel content. Would you like that? Absolutely. Here's an even more detailed and nuanced analysis of Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, focusing on its dialogue and script from a third-person perspective. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, Dialogue and Script, In-Depth Analysis. The screenplay of Final Destination, Bloodlines is a vital element that elevates this installment beyond a mere series of suspenseful death sequences. It carefully balances horror conventions with character-driven storytelling, employing dialogue that is engaging, emotionally charged, and occasionally darkly humorous. The script uses language as a tool to reveal personality, advance plot, and deepen thematic resonance. 1. Naturalistic dialogue that serves character. One of the strongest features of the script is its commitment to realism in character speech. Dialogue avoids cliches and exposition dumps, instead allowing characters to speak with distinct voices. Varied speech patterns. Teenagers, adults, and older generations each have unique ways of expressing themselves, reflecting their backgrounds and emotional states. This distinction helps the audience differentiate characters easily and relate to their struggles. Subtext and nonverbal cues. Many conversations carry deeper meanings beneath the surface. For example, a seemingly casual exchange about family traditions subtly hints at unspoken fears about fate and death. This layered writing enriches the viewing experience. 2. Emotional depth through dialogue. The script invests heavily in the emotional journeys of its characters, and this is evident in the dialogue. Exploration of grief and trauma. Characters articulate complex feelings about loss, survivors' guilt, and fatalism. Conversations are not just plot mechanics, but moments of vulnerability that build empathy. Interpersonal conflicts and reconciliation. Dialogue captures the tension and eventual understanding between characters, especially within families. These moments add realism and raise the emotional stakes, making the horror more personal. 3. Wit and dark humor. Final Destination. Bloodlines uses wit strategically to offset the tension. Dry, situational humor. Characters often make sardonic comments during high-stress moments, which feel authentic rather than inserted for cheap laughs. Balance of tone. The humor is never so frequent as to undermine the suspense, but offers necessary breathing room for the audience. Memorable comedic moments. Certain lines become fan favorites due to their cleverness or irony, reinforcing the film's cult appeal. 4. Memorable and thematic lines. While the film is not dialogue-heavy with catchphrases, it has carefully crafted lines that resonate on multiple levels. Philosophical reflections. Lines like "You can't cheat death forever, but you can fight every second" encapsulate the film's existential themes, giving characters agency in the face of inevitability. Foreshadowing and motifs. Dialogue often hints at upcoming doom without revealing specifics, using metaphor and symbolism that enhance the narrative tension. Character-defining remarks. Sharp lines reveal core traits, bravery, cynicism, hope, that deepen character arcs. 5. Script structure and pacing aided by dialogue. The screenplay's structure is tightly interwoven with its dialogue. Building suspense through conversation. Early scenes use dialogue to establish normalcy, relationships, and subtle hints of fate's looming threat. Short, punchy exchanges during climaxes. During tense sequences, characters' words are clipped and urgent, matching the escalating danger and quick pacing. Reflective pauses. Quiet, introspective moments provide contrast, allowing characters to process trauma and the audience to emotionally engage. 6. Use of monologues and voiceovers. Though sparingly used, the film employs internal monologues and voiceovers that deepen the narrative. These moments provide insight into the protagonist's mindset, fears, and determination, adding layers that dialogue alone might not convey. The voiceover style echoes the franchise's tradition but is modernized to feel more personal and less expository. 7. Cultural and generational dialogue dynamics. Given the film's timeline spans from 1968 to the present, the script pays close attention to how language and social attitudes evolve. Period-appropriate dialogue. Scenes set in 1968 use idioms and phrasing consistent with the era, enhancing authenticity. Generational contrasts. Conversations between older and younger characters reveal differing worldviews on fate, science, and mortality, enriching thematic complexity. 8. Dialogue's role in character development and relationships. Dialogue drives significant character growth. Reveals fears and motivations. Characters confess their fears and desires, enabling the audience to understand their choices and actions. Builds tension and alliances. Arguments and reconciliations through dialogue map the shifting dynamics within the group, increasing narrative complexity. Highlights moral ambiguity. Some lines expose characters' internal conflicts about survival and sacrifice, preventing simplistic hero or villain divides. Summary. The script and dialogue of Final Destination, Bloodlines form a finely tuned instrument that delivers suspense, emotional resonance, and thematic depth. By blending authentic speech, impactful writing, and moments of levity, the screenplay elevates the film from a formulaic horror installment to a nuanced story about fate, family, and survival. Its dialogue is memorable not only for individual lines, but for how it enriches character psychology and narrative tension throughout the film. If you'd like, I can help create sample dialogues or highlight key scenes with script excerpts for your channel. Would you like me to do that? Certainly. Here's an in-depth analysis of Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, focusing on its genre execution from a third-person perspective. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, genre execution, detailed analysis. Final Destination, Bloodlines firmly positions itself within the horror thriller subgenre, specifically the supernatural slasher tradition that the franchise has helped pioneer. Yet, it also endeavors to innovate and deepen the narrative scope by balancing genre expectations with fresh thematic and stylistic choices. 1. Adherence to core franchise and genre conventions. The film embraces many hallmark conventions of the Final Destination series and broader supernatural horror. Death as an omnipresent antagonist. True to the franchise's premise, death itself is an invisible, inevitable force hunting the characters in elaborate, often grisly ways. Chain reaction fatalities. The signature motif of seemingly unrelated accidents that interconnect to cause fatal outcomes remains central, maintaining the franchise's distinctive narrative structure. High body count and suspenseful set pieces. The film features multiple creatively staged death sequences that generate suspense and shock, a core appeal for fans. Group of young adults. The protagonists are predominantly young, which aligns with slasher tropes but is handled with nuanced characterization. 2. Subversion and innovation of genre expectations. Bloodlines doesn't simply repeat formulas but introduces several fresh ideas and twists that subvert typical genre conventions. Multi-generational storyline. By weaving together events from 1968 with the present day, the film expands the franchise's temporal scope. This layered timeline adds narrative complexity rare for slasher films, inviting audiences to explore the idea of fate and consequence across decades. Deeper thematic exploration. Rather than focusing solely on visceral thrills, Bloodlines incorporates existential questions about mortality, legacy, and family bonds. This thematic depth elevates the narrative beyond typical genre fare. Less reliance on jump scares. The film prefers sustained tension and psychological dread over cheap scare tactics, lending it a more mature and atmospheric tone. Character-driven suspense. The horror emerges not just from external threats but also from internal conflicts and emotional stakes, adding layers to the terror. 3. Balancing action, suspense, humor, and drama. The film skillfully balances multiple tonal elements within its genre framework. Action and suspense. The pacing expertly alternates between slower, suspense-building moments and intense sequences filled with action and narrowly escaped death. This rhythm keeps audiences engaged without fatigue. Humor. Strategic moments of dark, dry humor punctuate the narrative, offering relief without undercutting tension. The humor arises naturally from character interactions rather than forced comic relief. Drama. Emotional and familial drama is central to the story, with scenes exploring grief, guilt, and reconciliation. These dramatic moments deepen audience investment and provide weight to the horror elements. Horror. The film maintains a chilling atmosphere through sound design, cinematography, and scriptwriting. Death's inevitability creates a pervasive sense of dread that permeates every scene. 4. Use of genre tropes, clichés or fresh takes. While the film employs some classic genre tropes, it often recontextualizes or reinvents them. Final girl archetype. The protagonist is a nuanced version of the typical final girl, showing vulnerability, strength, and moral ambiguity, which challenges simplistic characterizations. Survival versus fate tension. The film intensifies this central franchise conflict by introducing new rules and unexpected twists, keeping the narrative fresh and unpredictable. Death's pattern and inevitability. Rather than a predictable formula, the film introduces clever variations in how deaths unfold, keeping viewers guessing. Technology and modernity. The film updates the franchise's conventions by incorporating contemporary technology and social dynamics, reflecting current realities and fears. 5. Visual and narrative style supporting genre. Cinematography and editing. The visual style complements the genre with atmospheric lighting, dynamic camera movements, and tight editing that heighten suspense and showcase action sequences vividly. Score and sound design. The soundscape balances eerie ambient music with sudden silences and impactful sound effects, enhancing the horror experience without overwhelming other tones. 6. Summary. Final Destination. Bloodlines effectively balances honoring genre traditions with introducing innovative narrative and stylistic elements. It respects the core horror thriller conventions of the franchise while expanding thematic depth, character complexity, and narrative structure. Its deft mix of suspense, drama, humor, and action delivers a satisfying and fresh experience that appeals to longtime fans and newcomers alike. If you want, I can also help create a video script or a concise summary based on this analysis for your channel. Would you like me to do that? Certainly. Here's a detailed third-person analysis of Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, focusing on its social and cultural commentary. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, Social and Cultural Commentary, In-Depth Analysis. Final Destination, Bloodlines is primarily a supernatural horror thriller, yet it subtly weaves in significant social and cultural commentary that adds depth beyond its surface thrills. The film addresses contemporary issues and complex themes in a way that feels integrated rather than didactic, inviting viewers to reflect while maintaining the suspenseful narrative. 1. Exploration of fate, control, and agency in a modern context. At its core, Bloodlines uses the concept of death's inevitability as a metaphor for the human struggle against forces beyond individual control. This resonates with contemporary anxieties about uncertainty in the modern world. The film reflects on how people cope with systemic forces, be they environmental crises, pandemics, or social instability, that seem as relentless and impartial as death itself. Characters wrestle with their limited agency, mirroring real-world tensions between individual freedom and larger uncontrollable circumstances, such as technological surveillance, political upheaval, or societal pressures. This theme is organically integrated, shaping character motivations and plot without heavy-handed exposition. 2. Intergenerational trauma and legacy. Bloodlines deeply explores the transmission of trauma and behavioral patterns across generations. The film's timeline, bridging events from 1968 to the present day, highlights how unresolved grief, secrets, and fears are inherited, influencing current characters' decisions and outlooks. This reflects broader cultural discussions about historical trauma, mental health, and the importance of confronting past wounds to break cycles. By framing death as a relentless force that transcends time, the film suggests how unaddressed trauma haunts families much like an unstoppable fate. This thematic layer adds emotional weight and cultural relevance, especially in societies increasingly focused on healing and generational accountability. 3. Representation and diversity. Though primarily a horror film, Bloodlines makes efforts to reflect contemporary social diversity. The cast features characters from varied ethnic and socioeconomic backgrounds, avoiding tokenism by giving them fully realized personalities and arcs. The film subtly acknowledges different cultural attitudes toward death, fate, and family, enriching the narrative's texture. Gender roles are handled with nuance. For example, female characters are not confined to stereotypical victim roles but display agency, resilience, and complexity. These inclusions feel natural to the story's world, enhancing its authenticity without feeling forced or preachy. 4. Technology and modern life. The film comments on contemporary relationships with technology. Scenes involving surveillance cameras, smartphones, and digital records highlight how modern tools both empower and entrap characters. The relentless, unseen nature of death is paralleled by the pervasive, sometimes intrusive presence of technology, suggesting a modern form of inescapability. This reflects cultural ambivalence about technological progress, how it promises control and connectivity but also fuels anxiety and loss of privacy. The script incorporates this theme subtly, avoiding overt social commentary but encouraging thoughtful reflection. 5. Handling sensitive topics with care. Bloodlines addresses heavy topics like grief, loss, and fatalism without exploitation or sensationalism. The emotional trauma experienced by characters is portrayed with sincerity and depth, allowing viewers to empathize rather than recoil. The film respects the psychological impact of tragedy, using it to motivate character growth and narrative tension rather than cheap scares. Discussions of mortality and existential dread are framed philosophically, inviting contemplation rather than nihilism. This careful approach ensures the film's horror elements do not trivialize serious issues but rather engage with them meaningfully. 6. Political and social subtext. While Bloodlines does not overtly engage in political discourse, it reflects subtle social undercurrents. The portrayal of institutional failures, such as ineffective safety regulations or medical mismanagement, can be read as critiques of bureaucratic negligence. The film's exploration of fate versus free will echoes philosophical debates relevant to social justice. How much control individuals have over their lives in systems marked by inequality. These elements are embedded in the story's fabric rather than spotlighted, allowing for multiple interpretations without alienating viewers. 7. Summary. Final destination. Bloodlines succeeds in weaving social and cultural commentary into its narrative with subtlety and sophistication. It uses themes of fate, trauma, and modern anxieties to reflect contemporary human experiences, enriching the horror thriller genre with emotional and intellectual depth. The film's thoughtful handling of diversity, generational issues, and technology ensures that its messages resonate naturally, enhancing rather than distracting from the suspense and drama. If you want, I can help draft a video script or presentation highlighting these social and cultural themes for your channel. Would that be helpful? Certainly. Here's an in-depth third-person analysis of Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, focusing on audience engagement. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, audience engagement, detailed analysis. Final Destination. Bloodlines achieves a compelling emotional resonance with its audience through a careful blend of suspense, emotional depth, and thematic complexity. The film not only delivers the adrenaline-fueled thrills expected of the franchise, but also invites viewers into a layered experience that encourages reflection and emotional investment. 1. Emotional resonance and connection. The film succeeds in forging a strong emotional bond with its audience by developing relatable characters who face universally human struggles. Empathy for characters. Viewers quickly connect with the protagonist's fears, hopes, and flaws. Their vulnerabilities are portrayed authentically, allowing audiences to feel genuine concern for their fates. Portrayal of grief and loss. Moments of sorrow are handled with sincerity, eliciting empathy and sometimes tears. Scenes depicting family reunions, farewells, or personal regrets resonate deeply beyond the genre's typical scares. Tension and dread. The film masterfully builds suspense, making every near-miss and deadly twist emotionally charged rather than just shock value. The looming inevitability of death keeps viewers emotionally on edge. 2. Moments that elicit strong reactions. Bloodlines is crafted to provoke a wide spectrum of emotional responses throughout its runtime. Shock and horror. The film's death sequences are inventive and visceral, designed to shock but also to provoke awe at their creative staging. These scenes often trigger gasps and heightened tension. Excitement and adrenaline. High-stakes chases, narrow escapes, and unpredictable twists generate excitement, keeping audiences fully engaged. Laughter and levity. Interspersed dark humor provides relief and makes the characters more relatable, eliciting genuine laughter amidst the tension. Sadness and reflection. Quiet, introspective moments give space for grief and contemplation, often prompting viewers to reflect on mortality and fate. 3. Narrative and thematic depth encouraging reflection. Unlike many horror films that prioritize scares over substance, Bloodlines invites deeper thought. Philosophical questions. The film's exploration of fate, free will, and the nature of death encourages viewers to ponder these enduring mysteries. Generational and cultural themes. The multi-era storyline sparks reflection on how history and trauma affect personal identity and family dynamics. Mortality and legacy. The film's focus on how characters confront their own mortality leaves a lasting impression, motivating repeat viewings to catch nuanced details. 4. Engagement through character arcs and relationships. Audiences are drawn into the story not just by the external threat, but by the evolving dynamics between characters. Relatable conflicts and bonds. The portrayal of strained family relationships, friendships, and betrayals creates emotional stakes that elevate tension. Character growth. Witnessing characters confront fear, guilt, and hope provides satisfying emotional journeys that keep viewers invested. Moral ambiguity. The film's refusal to present clear heroes or villains sparks discussion and debate about choices and consequences. 5. Inviting discussion and repeat viewings. Bloodlines encourages active audience participation beyond the viewing experience. Plot intricacies and Easter eggs. The layered narrative and hidden details prompt fans to rewatch for better understanding and to uncover subtle clues. Debate about fate versus free will. The film's thematic ambiguity generates discussions on forums and social media, keeping the conversation alive. Speculation on character fates and future installments. The open-ended aspects inspire fan theories and anticipation for sequels. 6. Summary. Final Destination. Bloodlines expertly balances horror thrills with emotional storytelling and thought-provoking themes to deeply engage its audience. It delivers memorable moments that provoke laughter, shock, sadness, and excitement, creating an immersive experience that resonates emotionally and intellectually. By combining strong character development with suspenseful storytelling, the film invites repeat viewings and meaningful discussion, solidifying its place as a standout entry in the franchise. If you'd like, I can help you prepare a script or summary highlighting these audience engagement points for your channel video. Would you like me to assist with that? Certainly. Here's a detailed third-person analysis of Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, with a focus on comparisons to similar films. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, comparisons to similar films, detailed analysis. Final Destination, Bloodlines arrives as the latest installment in a beloved horror franchise known for its inventive death sequences and the chilling premise of an unstoppable fate. When placed alongside other entries in the Final Destination series, comparable supernatural horror films, and the director's previous works, Bloodlines stands out by blending tradition with innovation. 1. Within the Final Destination franchise. Evolution of the premise. Unlike earlier Final Destination films, which largely focused on a single group narrowly escaping death and then being pursued one by one, Bloodlines expands the narrative by weaving a multi-generational storyline. This approach adds depth and complexity rarely seen in the franchise. Increased thematic weight. Earlier installments often prioritized spectacle and shock value over character development and thematic exploration. Bloodlines balances these elements more effectively, infusing the franchise's trademark suspense with emotional resonance and philosophical inquiry. Death sequences. While maintaining the franchise's reputation for creative and gruesome deaths, this film's sequences are more intricately connected to the narrative and character arcs, making them feel less like isolated set pieces and more integral to the story. Tone and style. Bloodlines adopts a more atmospheric and mature tone compared to some of the more sensational or campy earlier entries, aligning it with modern horror sensibilities. 2. Compared to other supernatural horror films. Narrative complexity. Compared to many supernatural horror films that rely on jump scares and straightforward plots, e.g., Paranormal Activity, Insidious, Bloodlines offers a more layered and ambitious narrative, incorporating timelines and thematic motifs that invite reflection. Character development. While some films in the genre prioritize scares over depth, Bloodlines provides richer character arcs and emotional stakes, akin to films like The Ring or It Follows, which blend horror with strong psychological undercurrents. Use of suspense. The film favors building sustained tension over frequent shocks, more in line with critically acclaimed horror such as Hereditary or The Witch, although it remains accessible to mainstream audiences. Visual and practical effects. The blend of practical and digital effects in Bloodlines compares favorably to contemporary horror films, avoiding over-reliance on CGI, which sometimes undermines immersion in similar productions. 3. In relation to the director's filmography. Stylistic signatures. If compared to the director's earlier works, which might have leaned more towards conventional genre fare, Bloodlines showcases growth in visual storytelling and thematic ambition. Mature storytelling. The director's increasing focus on character-driven narratives and atmospheric tension is evident, marking Bloodlines as a milestone in their career. Balancing commercial appeal and artistic vision. The film navigates commercial expectations of the franchise while pushing creative boundaries, demonstrating the director's evolving ability to engage broad audiences with substantive content. 4. Originality versus familiar formula. Bloodlines respects franchise conventions but introduces innovations that prevent it from feeling repetitive. The multi-generational narrative and exploration of family legacy provide a fresh context for the familiar death-fate conflict. The more serious and atmospheric tone contrasts with earlier installments' occasional campiness, signaling maturity. New thematic layers, including technology's role and intergenerational trauma, add relevance to contemporary audiences. However, it still delivers the expected thrills, tension, and suspense that fans anticipate, striking a balance between innovation and tradition. 5. Summary. Final Destination. Bloodlines stands as both a worthy continuation and a reinvention within its franchise. By integrating deeper narrative complexity, emotional depth, and refined stylistic choices, it elevates the Final Destination formula beyond mere spectacle. When compared to similar supernatural horror films, it distinguishes itself through its layered storytelling and character focus, while reflecting the director's maturation as a filmmaker. Overall, Bloodlines balances familiar genre elements with fresh ideas, appealing to both longtime fans and new viewers. Certainly. Here is a detailed third-person analysis of Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, focusing on symbolism and metaphors. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, Symbolism and Metaphors, In-Depth Analysis. Final Destination, Bloodlines uses rich symbolism and layered metaphors throughout its narrative, visual design, and character arcs to deepen its thematic impact and enrich the viewer's experience. These elements go beyond the surface horror to invite thoughtful interpretation and elevate the film's storytelling. 1. The inevitability of death as a central metaphor. The film's core concept, that death is an unstoppable, predetermined force, functions as a powerful metaphor for fate and the limits of human control. Death is personified almost like a natural law or cosmic force, underscoring themes of mortality and existential inevitability. The recurring motif of bloodlines symbolizes the unbroken chain of fate passed through generations, connecting past and present, life and death, as well as the inescapability of inherited destiny. 2. Blood and family ties. The repeated visual and thematic emphasis on blood, whether literal blood in death scenes or metaphorical bloodlines, highlights family legacy, inherited trauma, and the bonds that both protect and doom the characters. Blood acts as a dual symbol. It represents life, lineage, and connection, but also the fragility and violence intertwined with these ties. Scenes featuring family heirlooms, old photographs, or ancestral homes reinforce the weight of history and familial influence on the present. 3. Mirrors and reflections. Mirrors and reflections frequently appear in key scenes, symbolizing self-awareness, duality, and the confrontation between one's identity and fate. These visual cues often precede pivotal moments, suggesting characters must face their true selves or impending doom. Reflections also underscore the theme of inevitability. No matter how characters try to avoid death, their fate is mirrored in their own actions and choices. 4. Time and cycles. The film's nonlinear narrative structure and repeated visual motifs of clocks, hourglasses, and cyclical imagery emphasize the cyclical nature of fate and history. Time is portrayed as both a linear progression and a loop, reflecting how past events influence the present and foreshadow the future. The motif of cycles supports the idea of inescapable destiny, suggesting characters are trapped in repeating patterns that transcend generations. 5. Water as a symbol of transition and danger. Water appears as a recurring motif, whether in rain, rivers, or pools, symbolizing both cleansing and threat. Water often accompanies death scenes, highlighting moments of transition between life and death and reinforcing the fluid, uncontrollable nature of fate. It also serves as a metaphor for subconscious fears and emotions, often reflecting the turmoil characters face internally. 6. Technology and surveillance imagery. The frequent presence of cameras, monitors, and digital devices symbolizes the modern world's omnipresent gaze and the illusion of control. These elements suggest a tension between human attempts to monitor and control fate and the ultimate futility of such efforts. The cold, impersonal technology contrasts with the deeply personal, emotional struggles of the characters, reinforcing the theme of disconnection and helplessness in a mechanized world. 7. Color symbolism. The film uses a muted color palette dominated by grays, blues, and dark reds, which conveys a somber, foreboding atmosphere. Red, in particular, appears during moments of danger or death, symbolizing both violence and life's preciousness. The contrast between cold and warm tones highlights emotional shifts, such as hope amidst despair or safety amid peril. 8. Summary. The use of symbolism and metaphor in Final Destination. Bloodlines is integral to its storytelling, adding layers of meaning that enhance its themes of fate, mortality, and legacy. Recurring motifs like bloodlines, mirrors, time cycles, and water enrich the narrative by visually and thematically reinforcing the film's exploration of inevitability and human struggle. These subtle cues encourage viewers to look beyond the surface horror and engage with the film's deeper philosophical questions, making Bloodlines a more resonant and thought-provoking entry in the franchise. Absolutely. Here's a more detailed and expanded analysis of Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, focusing on symbolism and metaphors, unpacking the layers in greater depth. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, in-depth symbolism and metaphors analysis. Final Destination, Bloodlines skillfully weaves symbolism and metaphor into its fabric, enriching the narrative and inviting viewers to explore themes beyond the immediate horror. These elements operate visually, narratively, and emotionally, creating a dense tapestry that amplifies the film's exploration of fate, mortality, and human agency. 1. Death as a universal and inevitable force. The central metaphor of death in Bloodlines is multifaceted. It is not just a personal tragedy but a cosmic inevitability, an impartial force that neither morality nor human intervention can alter. Death here transcends a mere antagonist role. It becomes a natural law, akin to gravity or time, a relentless presence that shadows every action. This concept is echoed in visual motifs such as the recurring presence of shadows that stretch ominously, or silent, empty spaces that suggest absence and finality, reinforcing the omnipresence of death. The film also uses death's pattern or design as a metaphor for fate's predetermined course. Characters cannot change the outcome but can only delay or interpret its signals. 2. Bloodlines, the interplay of legacy and doom. The title itself, Bloodlines, is a loaded metaphor reflecting how family heritage binds the characters to a shared destiny. Blood symbolizes both life and death, underscoring duality. It is the essence of connection and continuity but also a marker of vulnerability. Scenes where blood is shown are often paired with intimate moments, such as characters touching old family relics or recounting ancestral stories, highlighting how personal and inherited histories shape present realities. The film emphasizes that the sins, choices, and traumas of ancestors echo through generations, a metaphor for the psychological and emotional inheritance beyond genetics. The family home or ancestral locations are portrayed as physical embodiments of this legacy, filled with artifacts that serve as reminders of history's inescapable grip. 3. Mirrors, reflections, and dualities. Mirrors operate on multiple metaphorical levels. They represent self-examination, the confrontation with truth, and the idea of alternate realities or destinies. Key sequences use mirror imagery before critical turning points, suggesting that characters face their true selves, fears, or impending doom. This visual device also underscores the theme of duality, the life or death binary, choice or fate tension, and the inner self versus outer circumstance. Reflections sometimes appear distorted or fragmented, mirroring the characters' fractured understanding of their reality and foreshadowing their unraveling. 4. Time, cycles, and recurrence. Time is symbolized as both linear and cyclical. Clocks, hourglasses, and repetitive imagery are used to illustrate the character's entrapment within an endless loop of fate. The non-linear storytelling reflects this theme, blurring the boundaries between past, present, and future to suggest that history and destiny are intertwined and recurring. The metaphor of cycles extends to life, death, and rebirth, implying a perpetual motion where characters attempt to break free but are inevitably drawn back into the pattern. These motifs provoke philosophical reflection on whether humans possess free will or are simply actors in a predetermined script. 5. Water, cleansing, danger, and transition. Water in the film symbolizes both life-giving and life-taking forces. Rain, rivers, and pools appear in moments of emotional significance or impending doom, marking transitions between states, safety and danger, consciousness and oblivion. Water's fluidity serves as a metaphor for fate's uncontrollable and shifting nature, suggesting that characters are swept along currents beyond their control. In some scenes, water reflects the characters' subconscious fears and unresolved emotions, acting as a mirror to their inner turmoil. 6. Technology and surveillance, control versus chaos. The presence of cameras, monitors, and digital interfaces highlights a tension between modern attempts to monitor, predict, or control fate and the inherent unpredictability of death. Surveillance imagery underscores a paradox of observation. The more characters try to track or cheat death using technology, the more entangled they become in its web. This contrast between cold, mechanical devices and deeply human vulnerability intensifies the film's exploration of disconnection in contemporary life. Technology becomes a metaphor for humanity's hubris and illusion of control in the face of forces that are ultimately indifferent to human endeavor. 7. Color palette and lighting symbolism. The film's muted palette, dominated by grays, blues, and dark reds, creates an oppressive atmosphere that visually represents the themes of despair and inevitability. Red functions as a recurring symbolic color. It signals danger, blood, and violence, but also passion and life's intensity. Lighting shifts between harsh, cold fluorescence in technological or institutional settings and warm, dim light in intimate or reflective scenes, highlighting emotional contrasts. Shadows and chiaroscuro effects deepen the sense of ambiguity and looming threat, visually mirroring the film's thematic tension between light, life, hope, and darkness, death, fate. 8. Additional symbolic elements. Doors and thresholds are repeatedly used to symbolize choices, transitions, or the crossing between life and death. Characters hesitating at doorways reflect moments of critical decision or impending doom. Animals or natural elements sometimes appear as omens or symbolic messengers, reinforcing the idea of death as a natural, elemental force. Recurring motifs of entrapment, such as cages, locked rooms, or confined spaces, metaphorically depict the character's psychological imprisonment by fate. 9. Impact on storytelling and themes. These layers of symbolism and metaphor transform Final Destination, Bloodlines, from a conventional horror film into a multidimensional narrative exploring mortality, family, and human agency. They enrich character arcs by embedding personal struggles within universal themes, making the horror feel more profound and relatable. The film's visual and thematic symbols work synergistically to sustain tension, deepen emotional engagement, and provoke intellectual reflection. 10. Summary. In Final Destination, Bloodlines, symbolism, and metaphor are not mere decorative elements but foundational to the film's storytelling. The interplay of bloodlines, mirrors, water, time, and technology creates a rich symbolic landscape that echoes the film's core messages about fate, legacy, and the human condition. This layered approach enhances the audience's experience, encouraging viewers to look beyond the surface thrills and engage with profound questions about life, death, and the patterns that govern existence. Certainly. Here's a detailed third-person analysis of Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, focusing on its franchise and historical context. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, franchise and historical context, in-depth analysis. As the newest entry in the long-running Final Destination franchise, Bloodlines both honors the series' established legacy and reinvigorates it with fresh narrative and thematic depth. While not a historical film, its placement within the franchise's chronology and evolving mythology warrants a close look at how it contributes to and expands the overarching narrative. 1. Position within the Final Destination franchise. Final Destination has, since its inception in 2000, built a distinct identity centered on the concept of cheating death and the inevitable, complex designs fate weaves. Bloodlines distinguishes itself by expanding the franchise's scope from isolated, standalone survival stories to a multi-generational saga. This narrative shift broadens the mythos, suggesting that death's design is more elaborate and enduring than previously portrayed. Earlier films predominantly focused on a singular group narrowly escaping death's grasp, with sequences showcasing inventive death traps. Bloodlines deepens this by weaving family lineage and inherited fate into the concept, enriching the mythological framework with layers of legacy and history. The film acts as both a continuation and a soft reboot, introducing new characters and narrative devices while referencing and honoring the lore established in prior films. 2. Contribution to franchise mythology. Bloodlines adds significant mythological depth, exploring death not just as an antagonistic force but as a systemic, almost sentient pattern that transcends individuals. By introducing concepts such as ancestral bloodlines being marked by death's design, the film expands the franchise's metaphysical dimension, inviting viewers to consider fate as both personal and collective. The film incorporates subtle callbacks and Easter eggs to earlier movies, tying its story into a cohesive universe while also standing alone thematically. This enriched mythology provides a foundation for potential future installments, allowing the franchise to explore broader philosophical and emotional territory. 3. Narrative and thematic evolution. Where earlier films emphasized adrenaline-fueled suspense and shocking death sequences, Bloodlines balances these elements with character-driven drama and exploration of themes like family, legacy, and mortality. This evolution reflects a maturation of the franchise's storytelling ambitions, aligning with contemporary horror trends that favor psychological depth alongside traditional thrills. The film's narrative structure, including its use of flashbacks and non-linear storytelling, allows it to delve into historical layers within the story, linking past and present deaths as part of the same design. 4. Historical context within the story world. While not a historical film per se, Bloodlines integrates historical references and settings to enrich its story. Ancestral flashbacks and references to past tragedies connect the present-day characters to their predecessors, creating a sense of historical weight and inevitability. These sequences are carefully designed to be immersive and authentic in style, using period-appropriate costumes, sets, and atmospheres to convincingly portray different eras. The film's treatment of history is thematic rather than documentary, using historical context to deepen emotional resonance and underscore the cyclical nature of fate. 5. Franchise legacy and audience expectations. Fans of the franchise expect a blend of inventive death scenes, suspenseful storytelling, and the signature concept of death's inescapable design. Bloodlines delivers on these expectations while expanding the narrative canvas, offering longtime viewers fresh material that recontextualizes the series' core ideas. At the same time, the film is accessible to newcomers, presenting its mythology clearly without requiring extensive franchise knowledge. This balance between honoring legacy and innovating ensures the film's place both as a continuation and a revitalization of the Final Destination brand. 6. Summary. Final Destination. Bloodlines serves as a significant chapter in the Final Destination franchise, enhancing its overarching mythology by introducing multi-generational storytelling and deeper thematic explorations of fate and legacy. While it is not a historical film, its use of period settings and ancestral flashbacks enrich the narrative and create a sense of historical continuity within the fictional universe. By respecting the franchise's core identity and expanding its narrative ambitions, Bloodlines effectively contributes to the series' evolution and future potential. Final Destination Bloodlines 2025 budget and box office. How does the film's budget compare to its production quality? Was it a financial success or a box office disappointment? Did marketing and audience reception influence its earnings? Explain from third-person perspective. Discuss in great detail. As of May 23, 2025, Final Destination. Bloodlines is currently available for viewing in theaters and IMAX across the United States and internationally. The film premiered on May 16, 2025, marking the first new installment in the franchise in 14 years. People.com. +1. Cosmopolitan. +1. Theatrical experience. For the most immersive experience, watching Bloodlines in a theater is highly recommended. The film was specifically shot for IMAX, offering enhanced visuals and sound that amplify the horror elements. Additionally, select theaters are screening the film in 4DX, which includes motion seats, environmental effects, and synchronized audio to intensify the viewing experience. Critics have noted that the 4DX format significantly heightens the impact of the film's elaborate death sequences. Cinema Blend. Home viewing. For those preferring to watch from home, Final Destination. Bloodlines is expected to be available for digital purchase or rental on platforms such as Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV, YouTube, and Google Play. The film is anticipated to be released on these platforms around late June or early July 2025. Tom's Guide. Streaming. As a Warner Brothers production, Bloodlines is expected to stream on Max, formerly HBO Max, following its digital release. The exact streaming date has not been confirmed, but based on past release patterns, it may become available on Max by early August 2025. Decider. +1. India Times. +1. Summary. Theatrical release, now playing in theaters and IMAX. 4DX experience, available in select theaters for an enhanced viewing experience. Digital purchase rental, expected on platforms like Amazon Prime Video and Apple TV around late June or early July 2025. Streaming, anticipated on Max by early August 2025. Amazon. The Wrap. +6. Decider. +6. India Times. +6. For the fullest impact, experiencing Final Destination, Bloodlines in a theater, especially in IMAX or 4DX, is recommended to fully appreciate its visual and auditory elements. For a glimpse into the film's intense sequences, you can watch the official trailer below certainly. Here is a more detailed explanation about where to watch Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, presented from a third-person perspective. Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, where to watch. Final Destination, Bloodlines was released theatrically on May 16, 2025, marking the franchise's long-awaited return after a 14-year hiatus. For audiences seeking the most immersive experience, theaters remain the ideal venue. The film was specifically optimized for IMAX screenings, showcasing enhanced visual clarity, vibrant colors, and an enveloping sound design that intensifies the tension and horror throughout the movie. The grand scale of IMAX allows viewers to feel more deeply immersed in the suspenseful atmosphere and the film's signature death sequences. In addition to standard IMAX screenings, Bloodlines is also available in select theaters offering the 4DX format. This cutting-edge technology includes motion-synchronized seats, environmental effects such as wind, mist, and scents, as well as spatial audio, all designed to elevate the sensory experience. Reviews suggest that the 4DX version dramatically enhances the emotional and physical impact of the film's intricate and terrifying death scenes, making it a must-watch for hardcore fans of the franchise and horror enthusiasts alike. Home viewing options. For viewers who prefer the comfort and convenience of home viewing, Final Destination, Bloodlines is slated for release on major digital platforms approximately 6 to 8 weeks after its theatrical debut. This timing follows the typical theatrical window observed by Warner Bros. Pictures. Popular digital storefronts such as Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV, YouTube Movies, and Google Play Movies and TV are expected to offer the film for both purchase and rental. This option caters to those who want to own a copy or watch it multiple times without returning to the theater. The film's digital release will preserve the high-definition quality and surround sound experience, allowing home viewers to enjoy much of the film's technical brilliance, although naturally lacking the physical immersion of IMAX or 4DX. Streaming availability. As a Warner Bros. Production, Final Destination, Bloodlines is anticipated to be added to Max, formerly HBO Max, Warner Bros.' flagship streaming service, after its digital release window. Industry patterns suggest a streaming debut approximately 8 to 12 weeks post-theatrical release, placing it potentially on Max by early August 2025. This streaming release will make the film widely accessible to subscribers, who can then watch it on various devices ranging from large-screen TVs to mobile phones. Streaming also provides an opportunity for casual viewers and franchise newcomers to experience the film at their own pace, without the constraints of theater schedules. Best way to watch for fullest impact. While the film is accessible through multiple platforms, the best way to experience Final Destination, Bloodlines, is undoubtedly in the theater, especially via IMAX or 4DX screenings. The combination of expansive visuals, immersive sound design, and, in the case of 4DX, physical sensory effects creates an atmosphere that amplifies the suspense and horror elements fundamental to the film's storytelling. The theatrical experience also enhances communal viewing, allowing audiences to react collectively to tense and shocking moments, which often heightens emotional engagement. For those who cannot visit theaters, high-quality digital purchase or rental on major platforms is a strong alternative, preserving much of the film's cinematic quality. Summary of viewing options. Format availability experience notes. Theatrical, IMAX, now playing, May 2025, best visual sound quality, immersive environment. Theatrical, 4DX, select theaters, now playing, physical effects enhance horror intensity. Digital purchase, rental expected late June, early July 2025 convenient, high-definition home viewing. Streaming on Max expected early August 2025 widely accessible, flexible viewing. This multi-platform release strategy ensures that Final Destination, Bloodlines reaches a broad audience while preserving the unique theatrical experience for those seeking the ultimate way to engage with the film.